I'm Greg Ekshian, co-founder and CEO of StratagenBio. StratagenBio is transforming MRI into a tool for quantitative biomarker assessment and clinical decision-making. We were initially born out of work at MIT, where I was a graduate student and postdoc, and co-founded the company with Michael Sima, who's a faculty member in Department of Material Science here at MIT. So the problem that Stratagen is solving is that current MRI measurements are incomplete. We have a form of MRI that allows for a deeper level of information. And we do this differently from other people because we do it in a more harmonized, rapid, and scalable manner. Current MRI scans are really an incomplete clinical measurement. Today, an MRI scan that you go and get at a hospital is qualitative. And what that means is the pixel values are uncalibrated. It's difficult to compare the intensity of a pixel in one image to a pixel in another image collected on a different scanner or collected of a given patient on a different day. It does, however, allow clinicians to look at pathology and tissue damage and disease progression based on visual interpretation. Quantitative MRI is another form of MRI where the pixel values actually hold absolute values and biophysical meaning. This allows us to go one layer deeper and better understand the tissue, and then start to, based on those biophysical measurements, determine different things about tissue properties, disease progression, and response to therapy. So StratagenBio is focused on making quantitative MRI a practical, harmonized, and scalable tool that clinicians can easily use to have a deeper understanding of a given disease, injury, or state of patient health. StratagenBio is developing a platform for a multi-parameter quantitative MRI. This is a seamless tool for a clinician to be able to extract multiple quantitative MRI parameters that we can then convert into relevant biological information. So the types of measurements one can make with quantitative MRI include characterizing different brain volumes, which has a lot of relevance in neurodegenerative diseases. We can do things like quantifying the tumor volume, distinguishing between tumor and healthy tissue, better understanding organ and tissue health. These serve as opportunities to assess disease progression, response to therapy, make an initial diagnosis in a quantitative and objective fashion. So StratagenBio was initially formed to develop and commercialize a seed-based tissue oxygen sensor that was measured using quantitative MRI. As we were developing that as a company, we started to really see the value of the underlying software acquisition and measurement platform for doing those quantitative MRI measurements. And what was really exciting was not only did we have a product offering in the oxygen sensor space, but that same platform could be used for a lot of non-invasive measurements. Non-invasive measurements in neurological applications, non-invasive measurements in oncology applications, non-invasive measurements in tissue health and viability applications. So there's really a wide range of both measurements and disease applications to different diseases where our technology can be used. So we're really offering now a broad product offering. The vast majority of our measurements are completely non-invasive, but in circumstances like absolute measurements of tissue oxygen, where that's not possible with MRI today, we choose to augment the measurement with a biocompatible seed that we can place minimally invasively in the tissue. And that's specifically interesting in applications in oncology, where people are trying to understand the oxygen state of a tumor and how best to treat it. But now Stratagen offers a really comprehensive tool for assessing different biomarkers based on MRI, and also giving guidance to clinicians on how to best treat a patient, which treatment may be most effective. That's really the broader vision of the company, that this will be a tool that will enable substantial personalization and customization on an individualized patient basis. StratagenBio is really focused on ensuring we have a rapid, harmonized, and scalable tool for quantitative MRI. And each of those is a key important part of what we're doing. Focusing on harmonization is critical because you need to make sure that a measurement made on one scanner on one day can be compared to a measurement made on another scanner on another day. We have proprietary algorithms for developing a lot of our measurements and biomarkers, so we're in a strong position here to differentiate ourselves from the competition in that both the underlying fundamental technology has key advantages and differentiators. Also, our approach to how we're implementing and deploying the technology is also well differentiated from what others are doing in the space. Stratagen is placing a strong emphasis on both harmonization and clinical implementation of the technology. We're very focused on not building a tool that's interesting to researchers alone, but building a tool that's interesting to clinicians because it provides clinically actionable information. So understanding their workflows, understanding how the technology would be used, and understanding how they would digest the information that we're producing to ensure that all of that seamlessly integrates, making sure that we don't cause deviations in their workflow, and making sure that they get the information they need when they need it in the format they need it in. So we're currently collaborating with a number of top hospitals, and this is important in a number of different ways, getting clinician buy-in early, clinician champions, but also these are partners where we can start to run clinical trials together and get the validation necessary for different FDA approvals, but also to drive broader adoption outside of these key opinion leaders in academic medical centers. We're interested in collaborating with a number of different types of entities. There are opportunities to collaborate with pharma and biotech companies that are developing therapies that our technology offers the opportunity for a companion diagnostic or a screening tool for clinical trial enrollment, or to use the data we're generating as a tool to identify the patient population that could benefit most from the technology. There's also opportunities to broaden our collaborations in the clinical world. We see this as a tool that can be used broadly, very quickly. So we're always looking to expand those to other key sites where we can generate clinical data that will really move people to start to adopt the technology. So Stratagen is really focused now on taking our platform that was initially developed in a research setting and turn it into a tool that's robust enough for our clinical relationships. That's something we're doing over the next 6 to 12 months, and we'll follow that up with submission to the FDA to get a regulatory clearance for our first product. And that's something we're focused on over the next 18 months. Stratagen just received its second SBIR grant from the National Cancer Institute. We're a growing team right now focused on expanding both our oxygen sensor product offering, but also this new broader opportunity in non-invasive MRI-based biomarkers. We're excited that Stratagen will be a leader in the MRI-based biomarker space. And what that means to us is not only providing acute value today, measurements for clinicians they can't get otherwise, or improving the workflow for clinicians and making that more efficient and more effective, but also that we are generating a unique data set that will offer us the opportunity to do transformational work in a wide range of diseases in partnership with biotech and pharma, also internally developing new algorithms that will continue to push the forefront of what we can do with the quantitative MRI data that we're generating. When translating technologies out of academia into industry, I think there are a couple key areas. One, it's making sure that the people that understand the technology the best, if interested in translating that technology, have the support and tools to be able to do that. So MIT is a great place to be able to support technical innovators and entrepreneurs who want to leave the academic setting and start a company, make that transition as smoothly as possible. I think another thing that's really important is thinking about going from, typically in academia, people do a lot of N of 1 experiments, but in industry, you need something that's going to be robust and work every time. So thinking about how you can take a product that at one point was working on a smaller scale and turn that into something that can work on a larger scale. And many times that's not a simple transition. And many times there's a lot of intermediate steps you need to implement to make sure that your technology is robust. And particularly in the medical space, where we're in a regulated space, where regulatory agencies in the US or overseas will weigh in on whether your solution is actually robust enough to be able to treat patients, there's that added layer of complexity in making sure what we do works every time. Because at the end of the day, a clinician is going to make a decision based on the information we provide, and we need to ensure that there's confidence in that measurement and there's confidence in the information we provide so that they can be confident that the changes they're making for their patient are based on sound information. Being part of STEX 25 offers us a unique opportunity to work and access companies that could offer strategic partnerships or be potential customers down the line. So for an early stage company, access to these type of relationships is reasonably unique, and it serves as a real catalyst and accelerator to be able to access that type of relationship.